let's get to our second story here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so actually Max Randall of MMA On Point, shout out Max Randall, shout out to the entire MMA On Point crew. They're awesome. Max Randall retweeted a bout agreement for one championship for an MMA fighter on the Friday fights, the Lupini fights that we watch together every Friday. And I'll get to your live comments here in just a second. Max Randall, as you can see in his tweet here, if this is real, one championship can go itself. Hashtag pay the fighters. The bout agreement here is for an MMA fighter on the Friday fights. That's an important caveat, which we'll get back to. It says guaranteed 1,300 USD, win bonus 1,300 USD. Athlete receives appearance fee only if no contest or a draw. The bout specifies mixed martial arts in the ring, glove size 4-ounce mixed martial arts gloves. There was some outrage over this. There's a big conversation on Twitter. As you can see, Max Randall very much passionate about it. And you know what? I share his thoughts. You're only making $1,300? That's insanity. You know, we criticize the UFC for lowballing their fighters. This should get us up in arms. But, and this isn't even to play devil's advocate, to explain why this is. And I'm not saying that I agree with it, but I'm saying at least there's a little bit more context to this. You know, you can see my tweet here and my follow-up. So first and foremost, you know, any type of low-paying deal like this in a promotion that dishes out bonuses like crazy, and let's be honest, one championship does, and good on them for that. This incentivizes finishes. Now, more so at the Muay Thai and kickboxing level, I get it, or side of things, I get it, especially for the MMA side of things too, as we've seen 10 grand USD bonuses get awarded to fighters even on the MMA side of the Friday fights. Now, not much less of a base pay here than some other lead card fighters, and that's a little bit concerning. We'll get to that in a second. But again, on the Friday fight side, as we've seen and I've noted many times on this channel, the MMA fighters on the Friday fights, okay, not the fight nights, on the Friday fights, Lupini Stadium fight cards, they're usually low-level MMA fighters. They're either making their debut in MMA and or they're 1-1, 1-0, 2-1. You know, like they're under 4 or 5 fights, okay? And we've seen it every single weekend. Now, on some of the more stat cards, yeah, maybe the MMA fights are a little bit more competitive. And I think we saw that on Friday Fights 9. But on all the other ones, they haven't been competitive. The big stars are those who are the kickboxers and the Muay Thai fighters. We know this. Now, does that make this fair? No, but okay, it's something to think about. They're just coming off the amateur scene. They're not expected to break the bank anyways on this deal. Now, from sportspayouts.com, they say that debut fighters purse between $1,300 and $2,600, and that's not including pay-per-view shares, which they wouldn't get if they're a debut fighter. And that doesn't include additional sponsorships that they can have. Performance bonuses can be up $10,000 to $50,000. Experienced fighters have a regular purse of $250,000 to $500,000 purse. If they're on a pay-per-view or if they're on a main or co-main on an Amazon Prime card, they can get pay-per-view shares. They can also have sponsorships. Their performance bonuses, again, $10,000 to $50,000. Looking at totals portal. So for example, Rainer de Ritter, he has a purse of $250,000. He's a main card fighter. As we start to look at some of the higher end lead card fighters, again, $3,600 to maybe some of them about $5,000. Even Fabricio de Andrade, before he got into main event status, was only making $8,000 to show, $8,000 to win sort of thing, just when he was coming off the lead card. So that just shows that one championship, like the UFC, like most mixed martial arts promotions, the lower end of the stick, they don't make as much money as any other professional athlete who takes as much damage and puts their body through the rigor like them. One thing I will add though, before, get right back to the comments here, they're allowed to have sponsorships. So that does change a lot of things, and there's a lot more bonuses being dished out in one championship. Anyways, what do you think, guys and gals? What do you think about this? Going back to this story here, there's a comment on Twitter. Jack Fu said, this is her one debut. She is 17 years old and a 2-1 fighter. Now, if that's the case, then okay. Am I still upset about this because the sport's so violent, etc.? Yes. It should be a little bit more. However, at the end of the day, with the context, it's like I understand that it's not just every fighter, because once this hit Twitter, it was like, oh my God, every lead MMA fighter is making this much? No. the ones who are like 10-2, or hell, a free agent who may not have the biggest record, but a free agent who won, beat over the PFL, maybe Bellator, hell, even the UFC to sign, their prospect in particular, like they're going to make a decent chunk of change. They're going to make a decent chunk of change.